Hey there. I wanted to talk to you about week two and what we're planning on doing this week. So we're going to be looking at kind of 3 to 4 big ideas throughout this week. The first one is the idea of generalizations. And what does that mean? Well, our brain likes to make things simple. Okay? It wants things to make sense very easily as possible. So we generalize, we stereotype, we simplify. Okay? That's a normal evolutionary-based response that our brain does. Okay? Not necessarily a bad thing. It makes things life easier. But if we allow those generalizations to control us, they can sometimes hurt us. Not always, but sometimes they can. So as you're thinking about how we generalize, that's an important first step. Second thing we're going to be talking about kind of applies in a couple different ways, but it's culture. Okay? So how does culture affect you? So how has culture influenced who you are, the culture you grew up in? And this can be ethnic culture, this can be socioeconomic status, or how much money your family's from. It can be where you live in the United States. Do you live on a farm versus in a big city? Do you live in the South versus the North? These different things affect your culture. Right? At the same time, we want to think about how culture affects gender roles, and from a different perspective, not only affects you, but how different cultures influence how people react. So, for example, gender roles for people from Hispanic culture, which I'm from actually, I'm half Mexican. Many of my uncles on the Hispanic side have very much a machismo attitude, which is the idea that they're very manly and they don't do, the women do certain things and men do other things. Okay? And that culture that I was raised in would influence me. Okay? So how culture influences you and how culture creates certain expectations throughout the genders. The third thing is, how do we start to create some change? So we're going to start to explore what's happening, and how will we make those changes? How will we make a difference? Okay? And then finally, how does the media influence you? So not only does culture have an effect on you, but the media does as well. So things like Disney movies, for example, princess often needs to be saved by the man, whatever, those types of things. Or, Target recently was in the news, or not too recently now, but they were in the news about having non-specific gender aisles, so not having girl toys and boy toys, but the idea that anyone can play with any toy. But if this is part of our culture, that we have boy toys and girl toys, that influences, again, gender roles. So, again, this is an overview for week 2. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.